So, Be Ye Resting, the Quiet Garden Ministry, a lovely ministry explored is the day. So I'm working with Jane Lander, who's been running a quiet garden in Sheffield for a number of years, a lovely garden at the back of her house. We'll be exploring the vision of the quiet garden, and the quiet garden movement is now in its 20th, well, it's just had its 20th anniversary. So we'll be celebrating this vision of hospitality and prayer in green space. And quiet gardens exist, we'll be sharing this vision, very practical vision, exist in people's back gardens, front gardens. They can be wild and extravagant gardens, or they can be very carefully manicured, they can be large or they can be small. So we'll be telling the story about how this ministry began as a result of Jesus withdrawing and taking his closest disciples with him. Come with me to a quiet place and get some rest, he said, and withdrew to countryside. And I'm intrigued, and I was then intrigued 20 years ago with how crucial this was for Jesus to withdraw to a quiet place in the beauty of nature to restore his sense of presence in the love of God. And so we'll be exploring that, sharing the vision, very practical ways of setting up a quiet garden, but essentially how we can look at our own area and say, could a quiet garden work here? So what will people get out of the day? They'll get a practical way of, if the vision inspires you, and you may say, well, I've got a house with a garden, I'd love to offer my house once a fortnight or once a month, or I know somebody who has a really nice house, and I'm sure if I asked them, they might open their garden and home once a month or once a quarter or once a week to be a place of gathering for Christians and those seeking the presence of God. And so it'll be a very hands-on, how do we go from the beginning of the vision to implementing it in your garden. Also we'll be looking at if the quiet garden, which is now beginning to do, could apply to organisational settings such as a hospital or a hospice or a school. How would we go about encouraging a local head teacher or a governor of a prison, or if I'm sitting on a trustee board of some organisation, how could we make sure that we're providing natural green space for people to be still in? So we'll be looking at how to set up a quiet garden, how to help set up a quiet garden in being a small group, and also how to have the vision and implement the vision for quiet space in organisational settings, because it's been proved time and time again how seeing green and being close to green can really enhance people's healing and wholeness. So the Quiet Garden Ministry today is all about why did Jesus repair to still places of beauty? How can we learn from that in our own spiritual nurture, and how can we help others to benefit?